How's it going, everybody? So, today I wanted to touch on something more relevant or more applicable to those that write trainings instead of those that take them. So, first of all, my name is Alexei, and I write technical trainings for my living, or it's called technical enablement. And basically, it means that I take a product and I study the product. I document several steps that might be educational for someone that wants to be familiar with the product in a fast fashion, right? So if it takes me like 2 weeks to learn a product or a feature or something, that some of my students would be taking 1 hour to do so. And basically, this is the knowledge transfer, and there are ways to do it properly or effectively. And over the years, I tried many different things. And one of the things that I see in technical trainings that I encounter over the web or colleagues of mine, just all over their time, or for those that just start, it's a lack of screenshots. And this is the exact topic of today. Why take screenshots and what is the point and how much is too much? And we will see just about that. So, what you see on your screen right now is one of the procedures that I made for a product. It doesn't matter what product it is, it should be completely ambiguous to you. What's important is, of course, the structure of the document. Like everything else, I use the web format. I'm not providing people with Word documents or PDFs or anything, but if I would still keep the same formatting. And the formatting is pretty simple. I explain what is the purpose of the document, and then I just start with the steps and sub-steps, and basically each action has its own sub-action until I reach a specific conclusion. And by the end of it, we just have a conclusion or just something that says success or I don't know. But this is the training itself. So basically a person would go inside and he would be following the steps. Sometimes without me present and sometimes with me present, but I have 30 students. So how 30 students can accomplish the tasks on a product that they never saw? And I'm trying to accomplish several things. Of course, the way I take screenshots, there is a dedicated video for that. So what tool I'm using, because some people find it very difficult to take screenshots, while for me, it's just a matter of a shortcut on my keyboard and everything can be set up. But I take screenshot for every single step that can have a screenshot. And this is, for example, a part of the UI. And if you notice, I am not putting the whole GUI on the screen. So let me show you for comparison. The product looks like this. Okay, and I'm just taking this very, very, very small portion over here. Now, I always take some part of the screenshot in a way that allows the user to find it on the screen more easily. So most of the controls for every product that you might encounter on the market would have the admin or the settings button either on the top left or top right. So when I show this kind of an image, then they are not getting confused. Okay, but for every single step, there is some visual clue that tells the user or my student, am I in the right place? Does it make sense what I'm doing? Am I lost? And this is super important to me. If a person struggles with the documentation, instead of learning the product, instead of building this muscle memory, and of course, nobody expects the users to learn everything on the first go. I expect them to go over the document, the training itself, over and over again. Should be useful to them after I finish the course or after they're done with me. So this, by all means, is a visual representation or muscle memory building mechanism for them. And the more data I can provide, the better. So there is, of course, the text, there is the instruction, and there is the output in case there is output. For example, if a comma doesn't provide an output, I would not include a screenshot because what would be the point? And another thing in terms of screenshots is like how much is too much. I never repeat a screenshot. So for example, if I showed the admin menu and I said go to resources. Next time the person should be going to the admin menu in resources. They should be going there with full knowledge that they already did that, so they don't need a visual clue. So it's not that just we are spoon feeding. We are assuming that the person sees the product or the procedure for the first time. Maybe it's somebody that is not specializing on the product and they just need a quick reference just to do it once and forget about it. So we can provide them with this tool. And also it's a sanity check for us. Are you making sense when you build a training? If you do it by step, there are some guides on my channel where I write documentation in a live fashion. And when you develop documentation, you go from step to step to step to step. And what is your way as a trainer to know that you have not made mistakes? One of them, of course, is going over the documentation later and trying to do it. But realistically, if you develop with screenshots, there is rarely a need for you to go back and check your material unless there is something ambiguous there. Okay, if the expected output is predictable and it works every single time, and you documented it, you know there is no transition between those two steps without internal logic. You don't need to recheck it; it just works. Right? So this is what I'm doing with screenshots. So without any context, as you see, for every single step, there is something to be checked, right? So if a user goes to this step and instead he sees something like this, he sees a window that he doesn't understand that we switched or something, there is like a second way for them to know. Another example is super important when you give the command line instructions. Let's say I made a mistake over here, but I did not make a mistake here because I made the screenshot. I took the screenshot that works, right? So there's a command and there is a screenshot. And the user, when he sees that the copy paste of the command, or when they're building the command, it doesn't work, but my output did work, they can compare it character to character. For example, this is -L. This is how all of the web fonts show the small L in the English alphabet, but this is how the system shows it. So the user might be confused. Is it -I or is it -L? Problem solved. I provided the means to check it. I don't need to change the fonts or find system fonts that just make sense in a specific context. I don't need to deal with the website building feature. So it just saves me time. It saves time for the user, and it serves the user beyond the coursework, and it also saves me time in terms of developing the content, because if I must take a screenshot for every single step, the probability that I will miss or do something wrong is quite high. I mean, people found mistakes in my content, and that was like quite a surprise to me and my user, because it's like, okay, well, since when do I make mistakes? And it's not something to brag about, but it's the method that works. It's nothing to do with me or my supreme capabilities or writing documentation. No, it's not. It's just my ability to utilize this process for my benefit. I'm following it like a rule book. So basically, if there is a command, it should be on a new line. If there is something on the screen that moves, I'll capture it in a screenshot. That's it. For a set of rules that serves my purpose. So let me show you how it looks like versus something that I see in other people's faces and what kind of decisions actually guide me. So here is the same document, but without the screenshots, right? So I have this plugin here that allows me, not a plugin, it's a feature of Vivaldi that allows me to filter out images. So those are two documents, and let's compare them side by side. We'll go and we say tile to tabs, and they're not linked. So from the very first get-go, from the very, very beginning, BVD CLI, here's the explanation, and then download the CLI tool in BVD, so people need to know, well, that I'm going to BVD, and somewhere there would be administration and resources. Now, of course, not telling people where the things are also makes the learning work better. Okay, it's better than having a full screen screenshots, because you make them look, they notice stuff, they remember that. For example, if a person goes here and says, well, I searched the whole page and there's like, okay, this is the home button and stuff like that. Next time when I say click the home button, maybe they'll remember that the button is here or something, right? So there's like this lack of full map or full screenshot of the whole screen that points with an arrow to where the button is. It creates a learning path, but at least it doesn't torture the user, right? Now I can also go and say download this tool, right? This is actually a mistake on my part, and normally I would say download the tool code, and then I would specify the name of the tool, and then use the tool for dashboard import. Open a CMD and navigate to the folder containing the BVD CLI. Now, here's a problematic thing. Now, I assume that BVD CLI exists, so I need to write it down somewhere here. With a screenshot, I'm just telling people, well, unzip it to this folder, and they know that the BVD CLI exists in this in this specific folder that we created. Of course, it can be enhanced a little bit further, but still, now I look at it and I know that it can be enhanced. At least I'm not confused about all of the other portions. Okay, so we continue with this, and I understand the appeal of many trainers to just follow this path. Okay, because look at this, it's just 2 pages. But in this situation, it's more like 6 or 7 pages. And also, I understand if somebody doesn't know how to take screenshots really, really fast and just create the visuals around it or anything, I understand it can be hard for somebody to get into that, and maybe they are not intending not to include screenshots, but it's a painful process for them. And for this, there would be like a whole other video. But let's continue. So the procedure basically ends over here, and we jump into comments. But look at this. First of all, the structure. It gives you enough for your eyes to just go and say, oh, you know what, in what step I was yesterday? I stopped the training, we are out of time, and I continue today. Where am I? Am I here or am I there? I need to compare it with my screen. My users always tell me the same thing. Like say when I'm going to documentation, one day after, I just know where to continue. If I get stuck, I know where to continue. I can scroll up and down and say, oh, that screen looks like mine. If that screen looks like mine, probably I'm somewhere here. If I go back and forward, I always know where to stop. So basically, this is how I see screenshots. They are not time wasters if they are done conveniently, but also they are not time wasters. It's not something that your users will see just once and ignore. They will repeat. Well, they will be returning customers for your documentation. They will use it as guides. Okay, for them, it's also provides some feedback about, am I in the right place? Can I go back? Imagine yourself, you have 30 students that found a mistake in your command line somewhere here, okay, like this one, okay? And let's say I made a mistake and it's minus F that I wrote over here. All of them would be stuck if they would be using documentation that's just plain text. But if the users would be seeing another example, they might say, you know what? Yeah, I see that it works with minus E instead of F, and maybe the instructor made a mistake, so I'm just going to comment, and that's what they're doing. Exactly on the page itself, it allows me to correct myself later on, and it's just fantastic. So to conclude, please use screenshots. I really like reading guides that help me in my coursework preparation. I do a lot of IT work and I learn a lot from other people. And sometimes screenshots are a must. Sometimes I'm reading the instruction and I'm not able to follow myself. Am I in the right place? Have I missed a step? Or did I miss a prerequisite that might pop up on my screen and would not pop up on a screen of someone that wrote the procedure? It's a lot of help to each other, and I hope that using this philosophy, you might be able to enhance your documentation as well. So I'll see you in the next one.